session prior.
Are you doing breath work? Are you doing that? Or are you like, is just,
Oh no, this is just literally just me sitting in my chair, just like, okay, like prepare yourself now. Like,
like one of those things? I've been getting involved unpurposefully in the like the breath work world and what like people are doing. And it's weird because like you trigger some like response like deep inside, like a flight or flight response, which is cool. But it looks so weird. Like I walked into a
yeah,
conference and there were 200 people like doing like the full like death breath thing. And I'm like, I know it works, but you look like a bunch of pigeons flying around and I'm not going to be a part of it. Right.
exactly, right.
But it's pretty darn cool. I'm super psyched that we're on the phone. How long have you been in the IC? Like you were one of the beginners like a year or so ago, right?
I guess so. I don't know. It was like it's probably been a little over a year.
Yeah.
I I joined like right after I quit my job in August of 2018.
Yeah. And that was when you had, I remember your setup used to be your bed in the
Yep.
background, right?
Yep. It was just like the cool, like the slight corner of the bed. You could see like the pillow, but it still was enough to like this kid's in his bedroom. Like,
Yeah. It was like, what is he, a Twitch streamer? Like, why is he doing that, right?
yeah, yeah,
And then one day you have this like new setup and you're like, yo, I just landed like $10,000 worth of deals every month. I'm like, oh, maybe it was the bed the whole time, right? But like
yeah, yeah.
everybody looks better when they have like a whiteboard behind them. Like you look so smart. You're like, oh my God, let me write this out. And they're like, oh, he's doing it. It's amazing, right?
hmm Yeah. All my secrets are behind me. So,
Yeah. Perfect.
yeah, yeah, that was funny.
Tell me about what you were doing like before you joined the IC. I think that's one of the first bullet points, which is like you worked at like a real life agency or you doing consulting or like what was that looking like for you?
Yeah, so I started off like right out of high school. I sold for NewJersey.com, which is similar to Yellow Pages, and they were selling like digital marketing services and that kind of stuff.
Wait,
Um,
newjersey.com? That's like a website?
oh, it's the most visited website in the state of New Jersey.
Are you serious? People type that in? They're like, what am I going to do? I'm going to go to florida.com. That's a thing? Like, there's.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like it's the news network. It's part of a conglomerate called I can't remember, but they own like 13 other states that do the same thing, like Boston.com or whatever. So they
Oh,
have like
shit.
authority domain, and then like so NewJersey.com owns like 32 newspapers all over the county. My job was when I came in because I worked for car dealerships when I was a kid. I worked at Exotic Car Dealer when I was like 16, and they hired me out of college because they're like, hey, you know how the dealers work, like take our print plan, put it together with a digital plan and make it work. And
Yeah.
so I did. And I sold it to car dealerships. And it was all like my friends in the area because it's a small town in Jersey and
Yeah.
they're all like the same old Italian dudes and they all know each other. And
I'm only
it like,
imagining the Sopranos when you say like old Italian dudes. They're like, they just happen to own like a strip club and waste management. That's like what I'm imagining in my head, but you know,
oh,
whatever.
100%. Like that's the whole like New Jersey tri-state car market is a bunch of old Italian dudes. Because my dad's an old Italian guy and he owns an agency that does all the traditional advertising. It's him and his three cousins, John and
Oh my
Mario.
God, that's
So
so
yeah, it's
funny.
like a movie. We'll talk about that another day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I came in there and was like, yeah, I put together this plan. I sold it. It was like 10 to 20,000 bucks a month. Problem was the digital plan was shit. They were outsourcing SEO and SEM to like this agency who outsourced it to another agency, and like you never really got eyes on anything, and the performance was just trash. And all my clients after like a couple months were like, "What'd you sell me, man? Like this is nothing." And I lost like all the clients. I lost like a ton of business for NewJersey.com. And at this point, I was like, you know what? I got to get out. So I went to Dallas,
Yep.
and because my buddy was like, it's super cheap to live here, and you know, it was in New York City. And I got a job at a like a contractor agency rather than just going to work for somebody directly because they were
Right.
like, hey, like we can fill you in super quick and you can work like at a bunch of cool places for like 6 months at a time. I was like, awesome. I did that. I got to work at a bunch of different places as like a mid-level marketing manager director. Wasn't bad, right? Got to work at Michaels, Mary Kay, Toyota for a little bit, like
Yeah.
all these different spots, getting a ton of experience, but really not making like any traction, right? I'd probably make like 10,000 more like every time. And by the end of it, I was making six figures, which was awesome. But like it was a ton of hours and I was just like beating like stupidity. Where Mary Kay was like a bizarre place where like nothing happened. Like they took years to like launch a website. And I was there when they're like, hey, we're 2 years into launching this e-commerce site. Like you're going to build the front end or the back end, like where all the people buy the products so they can sell their packages. I was like, cool. And then like one day they're like, hey, like we're not going to use this anymore. Like we're going to start over. I was like, what? Like you guys are 2 years in. And I remember I left and I talked to one of the ladies like 6 months later for a referral, and she was gone. Like they fired her, they flipped the whole department. But it's like the lady's son that runs. I just got so fed up with it. Like it was just too much. Like nothing happened.
It sounds like the same corporate experience I had at Ericsson in Plano, Texas, which is like, I've driven by Mary Kay's headquarters like 45 minutes north. And it was like, hey guys, we're going to do a lot of stuff for a long period of time and never actually launch the thing, which is actually the antithesis of like Facebook ad agencies, entrepreneurship, and digital marketing. They're like, what you're supposed to do is like, hey, we're going to launch a thing and see if it works. If it works, we're going to tell everybody. If it doesn't, we're not going to tell anybody. That's the opposite of this over here, which is like, we're going to spend a lot of time telling a lot of people, and then we're going to not do it. Haha, just kidding, right? And so like, that's super frustrating. So like you worked at like different companies all for a while, and that was where you were before you joined the IC. Is that about right?
Well, there's a little bit more. So like this was also, Gary Vee was starting to get hot, and I was like, I need some sort of side hustle. Like I always did something on my own. Like I used to sell like HID headlights, like drop shipping way before like drop shipping was even a thing, like back in high school. And then I stumbled across Snapchat filters. And I think I was talking about this at the Funnel Hacking House, where this was like my side hustle. There was a Gary Vee video that I was watching in the middle of the night. At the time, I was selling Instagress. Remember that? I was selling Instagress for $250 a month to a bunch of gyms in the area. And I got like a couple gyms. It was enough to pay the rent. And I was in between contracts. And there in this Gary Vee video, he's like, if you know how to make a website and drive traffic to it, you can make like 200 grand a year selling Snapchat filters. And I like perked my ears up. I was like, done. So I added a link to my site, drove some traffic to it. And the next day I had like 60 leads for $50 Snapchat filters. And I was like, fuck. And I made like $3,000 in like the first week. And then that was it. So
that's awesome.
I sold Snapchat filters for the next 18 months, got to work with some of the biggest brands. And like, that was my first exposure to like online entrepreneurship or like online marketing. I learned about Alex Becker, Russell Brunson. And like, that's where I picked up like all the stuff. And I'm like, cool. I made money at like I had like $1,000 days. I had months where I made absolutely nothing. So it was like this huge wave of like all the entrepreneur learnings where like, you know, you go and blow all your money the first month and then you realize like, oh, I have no records of any of that. Like
I shouldn't be doing this. No, this is a bad business plan. Yeah.
My dad's like, what are you doing about your taxes? And I was like, fuck, I got none of that. And so like the Snapchat thing, it was very consistent. I knew it was like kind of like a flash in the pan deal. And even like at one point I even got to talk with Snapchat directly. They opened an office here in Dallas and I did some consulting with them because they realized they're like, hey, you're selling a ton of businesses and like, we're trying to do that. Like, what are you doing? And I told them, I was like, this is how I'm pitching it. This is how I'm working in a traditional campaign. It's where I'm pulling the budget from. These are all the things I'm selling against. And they're like, cool, like that sounds awesome. And they're like, we're going to implement some of these things you're talking about. Then they IPO'd, the whole thing flipped, and they went, Snapchat went to shit. And the platform went to shit. Nobody's on it anymore. And my business is gone, right? And I went from making, you know, $8,000 to $10,000 a month. Like, one, I was grinding my ass off making photoshopping filters for quinceañeras. Like, but like, it was just gone. And I was like, shit, like, what do I do? So I knew I could fall back on the job. I immediately went back into another consulting deal at a competitor for Credit Karma. I was their affiliate manager. But at that point I was like, fuck, like I got to figure out something that's solid. Like I ran Facebook ads for the Snapchat business. I also managed 2 clients on the side. The first one was the event client. So they were my first client. I had them for like a year and a half through all of these transitions through my journey. And they were getting consistent results. And I'm like, this just makes sense. And so I started working more on my agency, and I ended up meeting a guy at the company who ran all the Facebook ads for the Trump campaign.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so he worked in Austin, he worked at Facebook, and then he got hired on the Trump campaign, ran that whole campaign. He was like a Facebook ads guy, and like we just like clicked, and we're like, we got to get the fuck out of here. Yeah. And so for like the next 8 months, we were like grinding on like getting clients, getting our shit together. And in all reality, we were just like making noise and really doing nothing. like, we're gonna have a course and we're gonna do real estate agents, but we're gonna do this. And like, it was just a bunch of spinning, but it's still like slow progress forward. And he got fired because we just eventually people found out. They're like, "What are you doing? Like, you talking to, like?" So he got fired, and I was like, "Fuck!" Like that. But that spurred him up, and he ended up making the same amount. He runs his own Facebook agency out of Austin now. And I was like, okay, like now I got to do it. I was like, I don't give a fuck if I get fired, and went into like straight do nothing mode. Like, there's the hide in the back office. Like, nobody knows where I'm at. And I survived that for about 3 months. And then finally I was like, I had maybe like 3 or 4 clients, and I was like hitting a wall with my job. I was like, I can't take calls. I was like, I'm crushing on Upwork. Like, I got to like get to the next level. And I put in my resignation for my job. And then about a month later, I joined your program. And figured out Upwork and got to my like 6,000 to 8,000 a month a range, just doing general agency work.
And that, I think what was interesting about like the Upwork journey is like the Upwork is like some level of consistency. Like, you know, you can apply a certain number of jobs, you know, the theme and the trend, and you know what to say and how to say it. And those are people like actively looking to spend money. So it's easier to do that. And I remember like, I was like, hey, Steve, you just broke $10,000 a month again on Upwork. Can you show us how you're doing that? And you're like, guys, it's not as hard as you think. Just like copy and paste and blah, blah, blah. Right. And I think Upwork like provides consistently, but it's not like fulfillment, right? It's not like owning your own ship or something like that, right? And so you went through that whole journey, right? You worked for like some huge companies, found the frustrations, Snapchat filtered, met with people who knew what they were doing, put in your resignation letter, joined the IC, right? And then you started running Facebook ads for as many people as you could, right? Like, I remember you started doing like in-person events. Like, you're at a Chamber of Commerce thing. Did that turn out? Like, what was it like after you joined the IC up until like, let's just say 3 months ago before you found like your event niche? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So like the first thing in the IC was like, oh, just go to in-person events. And I'm right here in Dallas, and I've gone to some events before, and I was like, you know what, I can go back. And there were 2 prominent social media events here in Dallas. So I immediately went and like made a splash like pretty quickly and got a lot of stuff on my plate, but it was a ton of different stuff. It was like fire damage restoration in California. One of them was like a therapist, a CPA, a gym, and like all this other shit. But of course I was like, yeah, I'll take all of it.
Not going to say no to money, right?
Yeah. And it was like a ton of money in contracts. Like, after like a month of really grinding at events, I think I remember telling you one time I was at like 18 grand in contracts out, and I was like, fingers crossed it closes. And of course, like only like 6 grand of it closed. But yeah, it was just like a struggle. Like it was very cyclical, and it was about like the 3rd time of like coming real close to 10K. And I'm like, I'm not going to fucking do this again. Like, I'm not going to like drop everything. I'm not going to have to start all over again. I'm not going back out there. Like, I'm going to pick a niche. And I looked back, and this was like right after I met with you at the Funnel Hacking House. I was like, what's one client that I've had this entire time? And really, I've been doing Facebook ads for 3 years, 4 years. And I've always had an event on the roster in one way or another. And I was like, stick with that. And it was really after that where I very quickly like got to the 10K mark, got to the 12K mark, and was able to eliminate a ton. So I'm like working way less now, like way less. But now I'm on like kind of the struggles of phase 2, which is like scaling from 10 to 15 to 30 to 40. So
like, once you found like the one ad, the one funnel, the one replicatable process, right? Now you got to figure out how to make that work. Like, the first phase is like, all right, let's get my mortgage paid. Let me eat. Let me figure it out, right? And in that figuring out phase where you're going to in-person events, did you find an event person there? Or did you always have, since the beginning, some person that says, hey, I want you to do Facebook ads for my events?
I've always had an event on the roster, and a lot of the opportunities that I got at these in-person events were more of like B2B scenarios anyway. And I didn't realize it at the time, but for one of my other B2B clients, I was running small time seminars where it was like super small, like 5 to 10 people. And they were getting people, broadcasting professionals in a room to sell them on a live streaming program. And I was like, oh yeah, like that's an option. So like, I think provided those panned out, I probably would have pushed them into events anyway, but that wasn't where my head was at. I think I was like, I'm going to build you a funnel and we're going to do this thing. Like,
like normal Russell Brunson stuff. All right. So like, before we get into you winning, I think it's really important to realize like there's always failures along the way. Like I talk about my failures a lot in the IC. You talk about it too. I think this is the first time we're going to talk about it publicly. I remember you going up on stage.
Oh, to Vegas,
in Vegas, in front of what, like thousands of people, right?
No, it was like it was probably like 40 or 50 like Hollywood casting directors.
Yeah,
and they were all drunk.
They were all drunk. They were all rowdy. Here, you're trying to show them a system on how they can get more people wanting to pay them money, and it totally bombed, right?
Oh yeah, it was the worst thing ever. I walked off the stage.
Can you explore that? And the reason why I think it's really important, because we're about to talk about how you're going to make $1 million over the next 12 months using this type of like focusing on events and focusing on conferences. But it's really important for everybody here to realize that like stuff doesn't line up until you've already done it. Like looking back, it all makes sense, but looking forward, you never know. So like, how did you get on stage? What was that experience like? Like, did you want to quit after? Like, what was that moment for you?
I have always shot myself in the foot in the past by speaking way too soon. And I remember I had this opportunity come in on Upwork where it just like happened to work out, where it was a lady and it seemed pretty legitimate at the time. She's like, I run this very reputable talent agency in Los Angeles. We recruit all of the kids that you've seen on TV, and we spend thousands of dollars in every city running Facebook ads, and it sucks. Like, can you make it work for us? I was like, okay, yeah. And I sold her on like a $4,000 a month deal, and she like sold it, like bought it without even blinking. And I was like, fuck. And she's like, at the end of the call, she's like, this was so impressive. I work with like 40 or 50 other casting directors that are all meeting in one place in Vegas in 2 weeks. She's like, do you want to be there? And I was like, fuck yes, I want to be there. She's like, I want all of them to do the same thing. And I remember I messaged you and I was like, Jeff, what the fuck do I do? I might make 80 grand in one weekend. Like they're all supposed to say yes. And I like documented everything. The campaign that she wanted, they were like, we're willing to spend $3 grand. You have 3 days to run the ad, and you have to get 500 families to show up at this hotel to audition. And I realized when I did the first one, because the first one happened to be in Dallas, it's not even an audition. They're like, oh, you're cute. Do you want to buy our $6,000 coaching program on how to be a movie star? And I was like, fuck, now I feel bad. Because I did 3 of these and I got thousands of people to show up for this fucking free thing, wait in line for 10 hours and be sold some product. And I got the nastiest comments on earth. And I was like, okay, like this is a possibility. I could scale this. Like I figured out how to get people to show up to a free event, even though it was dangling something in their face. But still, I had all the systems. Like I was, somebody who actually posted a question about free live events. I was doing a pretty advanced text messaging sequence with CallRail or ClickSend, where I was like, since I only had 3 days, I was texting them after every day, like, hey, like we're overwhelmed. Reply yes if you're still going to show up. And I was making sure I was using all the custom fields. And so it was like, hey, Stacy, is like Kim still going to make it for her audition? Like at 10 o'clock? Like just send me a quick yes to make sure you're still going to be there. And people were like, yes, please hold my spot, hold my spot, hold my spot. And so like every single day I was like, text them and like get them going and make sure they're still begging to be there, even though they filled out the form, filled out the other thing and like did a triple opt-in. Like
Okay. For everybody watching, this is like, I don't like using the term golden nugget. So like big win, whatever you want to talk about. Like what you did is you said literally, we are overwhelmed. Are you sure you're showing up? Right?
Yeah. 100%.
That's how you get people to show up to their free events, to their appointments. If I was running a campaign and I was having a low show up rate, I would be sending out a text message through ClickSend and Zapier and all that fun stuff every single day saying, hey, we're overwhelmed with the response to this deal. Are you sure you're showing up today at 11 a.m.? And as people reply yes, that confirms that they are going and showing up. I would incorporate that to every single campaign. I don't care who you are right now. Like, you need to do that for your campaign. That is absolutely fantastic, Steve. Like, that's so cool.
She went from having a 10% rate to tripling it to 30%.
Wait. My internet broke. Say it again. 10% to what?
To 30.
You tripled somebody's show up rate by doing text message reminders.
Yeah, and I was texting them like crazy. Even to like the 30 minutes before, I was like, "Hey, here's parking. Like, do you know where to park? Do you know where the desk is? Do you know where to check in? Like, do you know all these things?" Like because I was getting text messages from people anyway, just being generally stupid on the internet, where like,
Yeah.
do I need to bring this? Like, so I was still reinforcing that literally up until the last minute. The people that missed, that didn't show up, because people aren't always going to show up, we had a second time slot. So I immediately had the automation move them over to another list and was like, "Hey, we know we missed you, but we opened up another time slot just for you. Make sure you show up now because we're not coming back to Dallas." And people were like, "Oh my God, I'll be there." Like something happened.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Like that'll push people over the edge and say, "Oh my God, I have to show up." There's so many text message reminders. It removes somebody's reason that they can say no or fail. And you really feel like you're earning your keep with your client. That's absolutely fantastic. So when you were doing this, how many people showed up the first time you were doing this?
So we got about 800 leads or 800 form fill outs through that like 3 to 4 days of like prospecting in that area. And out of that, I got about 300 to 400 people to show up.
That's insane. You got 3 to 400
families, really. Yeah.
You got 1,000 people showing up. Oh my God, with 3 days to go?
It was like literally like, I was like, "Are you sure?" Like literally 3 days notice. And she's like, "No, do it." And this lady was like a description of the worst client.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay. And it worked. For some reason it worked. But
so effing cool.
I remember I ran that through like December and January, and we met at the Funnel Hacking House, and I met somebody that got me on an unlimited Zaps plan. And I was like, thank fucking God, because I spent $800 in Zaps or something just sending all those text messages because I set it up totally wrong. I was like, I'm going to make Zapier do everything. And it literally did it. But I was like, oh, I should have done it the other way.
Yeah, should have used like ClickSend. But whatever, dude. Either way, though, like you worked for like big brands and big companies, and you realized that you had to do your agency stuff to better align with what you want to do. You met people that were doing it. You joined the IC. You tried different stuff out, and now you're focusing on events, which, to my knowledge, like nobody's saying I want to run Facebook ads for sporting events, conferences, concerts. Nobody is saying that. This is like a blue ocean open field. You've got like no competition. Well, I mean, after this, you know what I mean, right? But like,
yeah,
if I were starting out, I mean, one of the bullet points is like how you blend local lead gen e-commerce, which is super cool. So like, how are you running these like in-person local lead gen e-commerce Facebook ad campaigns to get thousands of people to show up? Like what does that look like? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So like when everyone starts off, I think everyone was like, I'm going to choose a chiropractor or a dentist. And I think very quickly I was like, I ran one for a lice lady or whatever. And I was like,
a lice lady? Like lice?
Yeah. Like head lice. Like she did head lice or whatever. And it was an all right campaign, but I hit the first roadblock, which you always do, is like dealing with the leads. Like, did you call the leads? Like, are they quality? Like, and I was like, fuck this. I didn't even want to try to figure it out. I was like, I need a client that does something locally where I can still use local lead gen strategies, where like targeting a radius and using an ad that calls out a specific niche, like that kind of general strategy. Yet I can still leverage the Facebook like ability of retargeting and pushing for conversions and having a ticket be sold online, where there's like no argument where like, oh, I sold 200 tickets for 25 grand. Like, there's no confusion about leads or any of that.
So that's how you don't have to deal with, did you call him back, blah, blah, blah. Because even in the IC, we've got all the scripts. Even Jose Soto, like he went live earlier today. He's like, hey, I just had my VA call like 10 leads back. They didn't get a single call. I went and I yelled at her and they paid me $1,000. You don't want to deal with any of that. You just like, I want to know if this is working, end of discussion. And I want it to work even when you aren't, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I felt like I wasn't up to par to run e-commerce. I like had an e-commerce client and it was doing okay. We're at like 3 to 4 times return, but like I was an e-commerce pro. And I'm like, I felt like the events was a sweet spot because that transaction was happening online. Yet I was still able to like leverage all that local like abilities where, you know, you're targeting local areas with a video, taking those video view audiences and loading them back in, and then pushing them into the funnel and, you know, doing your abandoned cart sequences. So like it really, like the cold traffic portion was very much like local lead gen, where like,
Yeah.
you know, how you kind of build interest and get a general audience. And for your like warm and hot traffic, it was nearly identical to e-com, where you have the same audiences, you build out the campaigns the same way, and you kind of scale the same way as well.
That's super smart. So like you're running concerts and conferences and sporting events. I think you did like a marathon or something like that, and you got like, you sold like 200 spots. I mean, people just go to your wall, you can see. Were there any like campaigns that stood out to you, like, oh my God, I can't believe this is working, huge results type thing?
There, like the one for, I don't have it on my wall, but the one for like the child audition, I didn't think that was going to work because it was so slimy. But like people still were like, I couldn't believe that I just got an overwhelming amount of leads. I would say the one that like got the most like overwhelming success was like the one that pretty much like the title of this event was just like spending 15 grand or 1,500 bucks and making like 35 grand. I think I kind of like hit all of like the key pillars of like what makes a success, like, or an event super successful.
Yeah.
It was a holiday event. It was on St. Patrick's Day, huge drinking event, huge event for like that main niche was like middle millennials.
Yeah.
It was like a huge legacy event in Dallas. They've done it many years before and it's been a huge success. So I had literally like 8 years of data of just thousands of runners that've done it before.
Perfect.
Like, perfect. And they had tons of good creative, which is like really one of the things I'm looking for. Like, do you have video? Even if it's like a shitty video guy that's like just standing on the finish line, watching people cross and like their hands up in the air. Like, as long as you got that, any decent video guy can turn that into a good ad.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. Good photo creative. And then finally, like a landing page that converts. And they had a decent landing page. It like isn't anything like you'd see, you know, it's no Russell Brunson landing page, but in their realm, they were probably like one of the farther ahead in being tech savvy. And so they had a better landing page. And yeah, we blew it out of the park. I think we were selling, the ticket price was anywhere from like $45 to $75.
Yeah.
And we were getting like anywhere from like $1 to like $3 CPAs. And so it was really like by the end of it, it was like a 25 times return. And
that's insane.
I was like, this is nutty. I posted the results the other day and somebody was like, this is just a retargeting campaign. I was like, no, it's not. Like,
you posted that in like Facebook ad buyers and somebody was like, that's a lie or something like that, right?
Yeah. They're like, no, you're lying. And I was like, you're like, you selected it. And I was like, no, this is literally every campaign. And I literally just did 2 audiences. It was the total custom audience of just everyone who's ever ran that event before, and then a lookalike of them. And that was it. Yeah.
So if somebody has a question like, hey, I know like I'm doing a marathon run in Oklahoma, right? Mm-hmm. Like the 4 things that I need to know before I even start a conversation of doing this for them, they need to have it has to be a legacy event, right? They have to have
some sort of data, even if it's like lead magnet opt-ins or something that says like, oh, I'm interested in your thing. Like, you have to have something there to run to.
Gotcha. So it's a landing page, legacy event. They got to have some creative, and then they're ready for this unique combination of local lead gen, e-commerce, Facebook ads type thing, right?
Yeah.
That's so effing cool. Are there some unique differences that happen when you run like a sporting event versus a conference versus a concert, or is it the same math and the same process every single time?
I think the process changes when you cross a certain price point, which I think is like, and others may say differently, but I think is like that, let's say $80 to like $125 threshold. Like as soon as you get over that, where you're looking at like a $200 ticket, a $400 ticket, people have asked me about like $1,000 conferences. Mm-hmm. I think that it like slowly stops becoming an event. Even though it is an event, it ends up becoming more like a course or like a mid-level offer. It's just that somebody has to go to a place to get it. Like, so you're still doing your same warm-up sequence as you would for like your mid-level $497 offer. You're still doing the same campaign style structure as you would like a course launch, except that instead of watching the webinar or going, through the sales page, it's literally just, you're going to show up to this event and collect the ticket. So I think that's where it becomes a little different. But other than that, I think under that like $100 threshold, you can pretty much combine those 2 basic strategies and be successful.
So let's say that, I'm in Miami and there's the Miami Marathon, there's like Concert by the Bay, there's concerts and these types of conferences happening all the time, right? Yeah. How would I go to somebody who runs one of these conferences? Or is that like a challenge? Like there isn't like this huge cold email list of people who run conferences? Is there like a challenge like with approaching these people saying I can do Facebook ads for you?
Yeah, because like not everyone that throws an event is an event professional, right? Like there's dentists that have their own events. Anyone can host an event. So like I can't go into like D7 Lead Finder and be like event people. Like it just, even if I do, I probably get people that service events. So like any sort of like job title targeting or lead scraping like doesn't exist. And so it becomes difficult to the point where you like there's other factors as well as like, are you too close to the event where like reaching out won't make a difference, right? Like we're 10 days out, we're not going to sign a new marketing partner now. Like, or like we're 6 months out, like we're not even starting. Like maybe we don't start until month 4. So like, call us then. So there's like a fine balance of like who you reach out to when. What I did was like, I had a VA going in and like, scraping, or not really scraping, like literally manually scraping the event directory sites where people would just post like, hey, my event's here. And one of them just happened to be just for marathons and 5Ks. And so she would go scrape the following 3 months and then each of the top like 10 cities. And so I would then have their emails and do Facebook cold messaging. But even then, it's still a struggle. It's like becoming less of a numbers game at this point.
Correct. And ultimately it's because there's a small window where like if the event is too far out, maybe they've already made their decision. If it's too close, it's not going to work. So it's not like you can always go to a gym who always needs more customers. If the event is within like that sweet spot, now you're having a conversation. If it's outside of the sweet spot, then it ain't going to work. And I think that's why conferences tend to be like the undiscovered country when it comes to Facebook ads. I know James Cluster, he used to do conferences. He would sell out an Animaniacs concert and get like 5 times return on investment. But that conference is once every 6 months. And until you have like 12 conferences already signed up, you always have to have this like struggle bus scenario where you're always trying to find that sweet spot, right? But like what I would like to know is like, is there a format or a formula for ads that work for, say, marathons or something like that? Is it like, hey, Miami, sick and tired of blah, 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 like the same standard copy? Or is there something different? Or do you do e-commerce, which is you throw everything on the wall and say, Facebook, figure it
out? I think it's a little bit of both. Like when it comes to your cold traffic, I think if anything, like the copy is very specific to your audience. Like I try to be very clear about me know what stage the customer is in the process, where like I physically call it out in the ad copy. Like, you know, you ran last year, you're going to love it again, right? Like we saw you in 2014. Are you coming back? Like it hasn't gotten to like that level yet, but it could, right? Like, so I try to think about it that way. But when I'm doing my cold targeting, it's very much like your standard ad copy, like, you know, like, hey, Miami runners, like this will be your most fun event of the season. Like we run along the bay and we got free beers at the end of it, like that kind of thing. So at least for the marathon style things, people are looking for like, what does the event entail itself? Like what tangible and intangible benefits am I going to walk away with? And like, what kind of bonuses am I going to get? Am I going to get a t-shirt, free drink tickets, you know, like a medal? People love the medals. I don't know why, but you know, that kind of stuff that they're really looking for.
What I really liked what you said right there is like, and again, this is like tiny Jeff brain thing. Like if I could go to a guy who's running an event, a girl that's running a conference, I don't care if it's sporting or concerts or conferences, whatever it is. And I simply said, hey, we're going to run an ad that says you came last year, get your ticket now for this year, just like ClickFunnels does, right?
Yep.
That is like an easy as hell win very, very quickly in the beginning. And that's just a custom audience. That's it. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're luckily enough, they're like if they have a solid list of attendees over the years, or maybe attendees through a series, like if they do like a monthly thing, it's very easy to get those people coming back. And it got to the point where I'm like setting up campaigns where like those easy win campaigns where I want the people that were already going to say yes at the cheapest possible cost. Like I'm not going to spend $10 for the guy that already is going to sign up anyway. I'd rather spend like 90 cents. So I try to put them in their own campaign.
Are you doing any like email sequences for your conferences and things like that? Like somebody signs up and they don't buy because that's very like local lead gen. You know what I mean? Are you doing anything like that?
Definitely. I did it for the child audition where if they like abandoned cart or like opted in but didn't fill out the audition form, I was like constantly blasting them like every day, or even in that instance, like on the last day, it was like every 6 hours. Like, here are the main benefits. Like, man, we just flew in this casting director. She works with these shows. She got these kids
Nice.
signed that were also in Texas. And people were like, oh fuck. Like, and then like the last 6 hours, like, hey, like special surprise, like we're going to do free 30-minute sessions if you sign up now, or if your kid falls in this spot. So like those email sequences as like the time went on was definitely like blasting like limited time.
Yeah.
Total scarcity.
I absolutely love that. So you're literally blending, like you mentioned, local lead gen and e-commerce strategies, because you can't really, like when you're doing local lead gen, you don't have the audience to do like 9 different creatives. Like that's usually not like an option, right? And even if you do, it takes forever and you have to spend so much money and you get a false positive. It definitely sucks. But when you're doing an event that has a long history, you can have a massive audience, right? Like people will travel for an event up to like 30, 40 minutes. All of a sudden, like in Miami, if you got a 45-minute drive, that's like 3 million people. That's big enough to do e-commerce style stuff, right? But for a chiropractor, that's just 2 miles. That ain't going to work. You know what I mean? So I think that's like really darn cool. Is there anything that you would say to somebody that is like, I want to get started out running Facebook ads for events? Like, do this, don't do that. Look out for this challenge. Some type of like smart parting words. You know what I mean? Anything like that?
I think the one thing that I learned and I'm trying to get a lot better at is like the timeline management, which is like the one different aspect that makes it in a different niche in itself, is because like there are like discounts that come with time. Like a lot of them do price increases where every month or every registration tier, like every 200 runners, the price goes up. So like those are opportunities to use for scarcity. Like you want to factor those into your campaign. Got to make sure you have the right creative. Like they also do like things like the swag drop at the last month where like, hey, we released a shirt, so here's the medals you're gonna get. Like, got to capitalize on that. So like, rather than like set it and forget it, you really got to like schedule everything ahead of time. So that's like one thing I'm getting better is like sending a calendar to the client and be like, tell me what happens each step of the way so I can plan ahead.
I really like that. Send the calendar to the client so that we don't have to have this consistent discussion about what's coming next. It's already pre-planned. Is that right?
Yeah, and most of them are good about it, but some of them are like, oh, hey, we just hit 500 runners. Like, let's up the price another $20. And you're like, fuck, like, so.
That's something that I would say. Like, I have no level of organization. It's like, oh, this happened. Maybe we should do a thing. That's literally like how I run. That's why I'm having Steph run the mastermind and probably have Steph figure out AskCon, because I do no way in any level of thinking organize any thoughts at all whatsoever. It's just like, we should do this, and then it works. And that's why I should be doing events. But that's why I've got like you and Steph, which is like pretty darn cool. What about smaller events though? What about like 15 people or 30 people? Like, how do you handle like those types of conferences, running Facebook ads for that? And the reason why I ask is because like there's a huge market of people that charge like $3,000 for like a day-long event, and there's only 30 people going. So like, how do you handle with that? Think of like a chamber of commerce or something.
Yeah, so like I'm still trying to figure that out as well, and I think because of that price point, it still falls into like that 3-month warm-up sequence where maybe like you're warming up your entire list that like you're going to have this high ticket offer like through lead magnets or value videos. You might be doing something countrywide, and then when you're a month out, you say like, okay, Dallas, not ready, like buy the ticket. Like, we're here in your city. Now's the time to get it. So you like there's still always going to be a process where you have to warm up some sort of data, and it doesn't always have to be an attendee. It could be a lead magnet opt-in. It could be somebody that watched your videos or whatever. But it's always easier to start somewhere.
All right, my brain biscuits are turning here, Steven. I got a question for you. So Gina Poole did an interview with this. She's doing an F-ton event at Colorado. All she does is sell at in-person events. That's it. She doesn't do any like prospecting online. She doesn't run Facebook ads for herself. She simply says, hey, I'm doing this thing at my office. It's going to cost you $49. And at the end of it, if you like, you can pay me more money. And she'll make like $75,000 in a weekend or something like that.
Yep.
I don't know the name of it, but I'm just going to use her term. She calls it clients in bulk. That's what she says, right? And it's effectively saying, hey, you want to come by my office and learn a thing? So let's say Jeff wanted to do a come by my office and learn a thing. And let's just say it was $50, right? What should Jeff do to attract the doctors and the dentists and the chiropractor, the gym people? Like, what should I be doing from day one when I want to sell 50 tickets to my in-person event? We're going to talk about Facebook ads and then sell them a $2,000 program.
I think if you're looking at like a 30-day timeline where you got like 30 days to sell, let's call it 30 seats, right? The first 10 days would maybe like running those value videos over my area where like I can immediately pull out those people that are looking for this type of information, right? Like they're watching my videos on the 5 steps on how to close my leads better. They're watching my videos on the 5 steps on how to write a better ad for a dentist, and all those same videos, right? And so you're collecting them up, and eventually you're going to push that bucket of people and say like into your main offer, which instead of a mid-level offer or your course offer is just going to be like, oh, it's $50. It happens to be right down the street from you. We're going to have it in 10 days. Sign up now and whatever money back guarantee you want to do, but you're just delivering it in a different method.
I'll tell you what, Tony Robbins has, and there's a UPW conference going on across the street from my house. Like I can see it, I'm getting targeted, and I can see the evolution of it. Like I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to watch this whole thing until the end, and then we're going to see the ad that comes up, right? And I'll tell you what, one of the ads was like his money back guarantee says like, if you show up and you hate it and you don't see $1 million worth of value, we'll give you a refund on the spot. And I'm like, oh my God, I should so do that for my like in-person events. Like it's $50. If you don't get $100,000 worth of value, I'll refund your money. Nobody's going to ask for a refund. If they do, it's $50. Who cares, right? So let me ask you this, Steven. So if somebody's on this live and they're like, yo, Steven, I've always wanted to do an in-person event to sell Facebook ads as a service or website or SEO, and I want to do it having like 20, 30 people show up to my office, could you help them either figure it out or do it for them? Are you comfortable with that type of scenario?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, perfect. And so if I'm understanding correctly, if I wanted to do it, I would shoot like, let's just say, hey, everybody, my name is Jeff Miller. Here's 5 things you know about running your ads online for Facebook. And I would just run that to everybody within 30 miles, right? And then if they watch, let's just say half the video, and then I would send them an offer saying, hey, my name is Jeff. This coming August 14th. What's funny is we're in November. That's upcoming August 14th to the 17th. Here's an opportunity to learn blank, blank, and blank for only $50. And believe me, if you show up and you hate it, and by the end of day 2, everything is bad, I'll give you your $50 back. I'll have 30 people showing up. At the end, I can pitch, close, and make $150,000.
Yep.
Well, that was an easy yes. Yeah, that's how
the data will tell you. I think people get in their head about the fact that it being an event or like, oh, only these people within this radius can show up. But in all reality, it's the same as running it towards your general cold traffic or your favorite lookalike audience. The data will say. So if you're getting landing page views and no one's opting in, then obviously something in your audience is up. So, I would just use your general optimization skills and look at the data for running stuff in your area and see what happens.
That's so effing cool. Are you okay with having 3 people like do a one-on-one for 15 minutes to figure out like how that works and all that fun stuff? Because this sounds like a better way to get clients. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, cool. So ladies and gents, if you want to have a one-on-one, a group call, I don't know, we'll figure it out. I'm going to pick 3 people, just hashtag Steven my face. I'm going to pick 3 people and I'm going to connect you guys because I think this is a really cool opportunity to either get clients showing up to your office and wanting to buy what you have to sell. If you're saying, I don't have an office, well, go rent one. It costs $250. You're going to make an F ton of money. Or if you really want to learn how to run conferences better and get people signing up to pay you or your client money, well, now you've got somebody, which will be pretty darn cool. And I'm just going to wait for those like comments to come in and all that. Let me just go ahead and see if there's any questions on here. Tony Tovar says, so does that mean something like 10 days of value video to get people who are interested in the information? Or is it 3 days of value videos or what does that look like?
It's whatever collects the data the easiest, even if it's like a lead magnet download and you get those 100 pixel fires or, whatever that metric is that you can use to scale up your campaign with some more accurate data, then I think like that's like the trigger to say like, okay, like there's enough here for me to push ticket sales. That's absolutely fantastic. And I do want to say, Steven, we've got 2 hot ones. I'm super happy that Tony Tovar, I'm going to connect you with Steven directly. I think you guys can do some great work together because I know Tony really enjoys like this type of like in-person events. Oh, and yeah. We've been talking all the time. Yeah. You guys are both in Dallas, which is pretty cool. By the way, I was at Alex Becker's house. Like he lives in like the downtown area and you'd have no idea. It's like
like a normal neighborhood, a normal house, and it's Alex Becker's house. I'm like, this dude's doing like 150K a day, and he's right there.
Yeah.
He's like, nobody knows he's a totally normal person, so it's so darn cool.
He lives like a mile down the road from me. I see him at the bars all the time.
Why are you guys not best friends?
Cause I've been trying. I've been really trying. He's a big drinker. I can't keep up.
Yeah, it's hard. And then Jay Lopez, I'm gonna connect you as well because Jeff says, or she says, Jeff, I have a $500,000 a year conference client. She needs to talk to Steven. So I was like, okay, I'll make your dreams happen. Let's go.
Cool.
And then we'll find a third person later on. But Steven, it's been really darn cool. I think you're in a really cool opportunity to like break an industry for the better because you're literally doing the best things of local lead gen, proving to your client that it works through e-commerce, and you're getting real life human beings to show up. And it doesn't matter if it's like for modeling, for big events, for conferences, whatever. I think it's really darn cool. And you take the same principles of like getting thousands, let's just say 1,000, right? People to show up to like a marathon, but you can also do that for like small in-person events, like 30 people, 50 people, and combining that with Gina Poole's like clients in bulk strategy. I'm just trying to give her credit. Like,
oh, definitely.
Hot damn, Steven, you and the money. This is going to be awesome.
She gets the credit. I'm going to try to just do the done for you of her.
Perfect, right? Is there anything else you wanted to go over before we bring this to a close?
No, I think that's it. Let's see. I'm just trying to look through the comments here. I don't see anything specifically. I think we covered all of it.
Just a lot of thank yous saying, oh my God, I love you. Please solve my problems. Take my money. You know, normal comments, right? Like,
yeah. So I've already talked to a ton of people, like just doing one-on-one calls, and it's been really insightful. In fact, got a lot of the same questions. So
no, don't say that. Say your time is super valuable. You're already booked out, and you can only take 3 15-minute phone calls. Like, it's gonna be awesome, dude. I think this is very, very cool. We're gonna bring this to a close. It's been absolutely fantastic. I'm gonna end the broadcast in like 30 seconds. Steve, you're gonna kick some ass, take some names. I'm gonna see you in Miami, and then we're gonna see you in Kissimmee at the next event, and then we're gonna talk more and all that fun stuff. Don't say any names. It's going to be super cool. Don't hang up. Everyone, Steve Aquino. See you guys later. Bye.